Remember those days when we used to be able to jump out and do those? What was it? Welcome to Brothers and Booze, guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get caught like we're back seeing where we didn't click that live button yet, and I'm like, yo, did you guys see this? Yeah. It's nice to see somebody have a good time.
You mean flash mobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we could jump out and do those flash mobs. Mm-hmm.
Those were going on before the pandemic.
Yeah, there's a lot that's going on before the pandemic.
Right, but not this though. I got me some tequila in the house. Or this was going before the pandemic. Sorry. What do we got to drink? We got a fun guest tonight. The house is packed already. The comments are already coming in. What's going on, fellas?
Well, you want me to start, Casey, or you want to go with what you're drinking first?
Go ahead.
All right.
What the hell's going on
here? Peanut butter milk stout from Left Hand. I've heard Reese's peanut butter cup in a glass, so
yummy.
One to try, might as well. Also, I believe isn't Left Hand one of the female owned one of the bigger female owned breweries in the United States, if I'm not mistaken.
What?
Man, I didn't even sniff the can, and I could smell the peanut butter coming off of that. Baby.
Yeah. All right.
Man, it is pungent. Stings the nostrils in a good way.
Waiting for that verdict.
Oh, that's delicious.
Very
peanut butter and the chocolate and the peanut butter are really super well mixed. And like I said, you get super peanut butter in the nose, and it's there, but it's not as heavy as I expected, because the nose, I was like, wow. It's like opening a jar of Jif and like there it is. No, it right really good.
Sweet.
You know what? So we're heading into summer, which means all the new sours will start coming out. But right now we're still like, I'm basically going to have to start polling everyone to figure out where to get all the good sours from. And there's actually a brewery up in Canada, which is near Ottawa, that does some very interesting ones, and maybe some of the only smoothie sours I've seen in Canada. So I'm gonna change it up soon. I'm very, very excited. But for
Canada, Canada?
Yes. So okay. Canada is Canata. Canada is Canada. It's an area near Ottawa. Come on, guys, it's a real place. I'm not making this up.
We are English and geometrically challenged down here, so I just gotta give me a little space here. Okay. Thank you.
Got you. So this is the passion fruit shapeshifter at 6.5 ABV, and it mixes what does it have? Sour IPA with passion fruit. And let's see how this is.
Passion fruit, right? I poured my Cloud Harvest Juicy IPA real fast,
huh?
And it's really good. But let's see what Casey's doing over here.
A little bit of pouring over there, make that happen.
Ooh, look at that color. That looks lovely. Looks like an orange juice.
Ooh, that's good. That is a good richness of passion fruit there. Drake would be proud. Yes, I made a Drake joke. I did it.
Slip that in there.
We won't hold that against you.
What's up, Victor? Unfiltered, juicy, citrus, the normal. Nothing spectacular, nothing out of the ordinary, but pretty damn good for a start tonight. So, Doug, without further ado, we might as well just
get into it.
Yeah, might as well, right? Let's bring them on. So, what we're going to bring on, the guest we're going to bring on tonight is Amanda Deibert. Super excited to have her on. She's got a super duper impressive resume for writing. If you're a geekdom, fandom person, comic book person, this is the episode for you. You're really going to enjoy this. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. So yeah, let's bring her on.
Ooh. Small box. What is that small box stuff for?
Yeah.
Hi, Amanda. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Before Doug, I just wanted to set it up a little bit by saying Friday nights we like to have drinks with whatever you feel your Friday night brings. Sometimes a Friday night brings water. Sometimes a Friday night brings shots of bourbon. Sometimes Friday night brings a glass of wine. So Amanda, what are you? What is your Friday? How was your weekend? What did your Friday set up for you?
My Friday is a glass of Bordeaux. So
Cheers.
that's what we're doing. Although that passion fruit sounded delicious. I'm gonna have to look for that. That sounded very good.
Yeah. Well, it's in Canada, so you might have the trouble.
We can make things happen. Don't worry. We can sort something out. Don't you worry, Amanda.
Doug?
Oh, so like I said, we're pretty freeform here, but there's lots of things I think we all want to talk to you about. Some things, especially with the like for me, because I'm going to use the air quotes. I'm a writer. I wonder how the heck you got on such a diverse path for writing, because it's like usually you write and you're like, oh, I write this, and you are from writing for Vice President Al Gore to writing for He-Man, and like I believe you also have stuff in the Star Wars universe, and like that's like crazy all over. How did you find this sort of path, or did it find you maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the easy answer would be like, I am a girl who doesn't say no, but
I think Casey made that well.
But really, yeah, it is very chaotic. My resume is really all over the place. And the only kind of through line, I guess, is writing. But like, there is a little bit of like things leading to each other, but in really roundabout, crazy ways. I did study screenwriting in college, and then I was an actor for a while, and then started kind of doing screenwriting, and then I started dating a comic book illustrator, so we started doing some comic strips together, which then led me to doing comic books. And it just kind of and by dating a comic book illustrator, she's now my wife, Kat Stagg, so it worked out for the long term.
Phew. So Casey, you next there?
Yeah, it's such an interesting path, because I come from a background of being in comic shops and debating comics all day and night, of drawing my own comics, go to comic conventions. And what I realized after a while is that I vibe so much more with the narrative of comics than the illustration. So like, I love a good illustration. It's great. And you go to Artist Alley at a comic convention, you see all the pinups, you see all like the one-offs, but you give me someone who draws stick figures and has an amazing story, and I will love it so much more. And so it's an ever evolving world. And how has that been navigating for you as long as you've been at it?
Well, I mean, as far as the art side, I think this is where the fact that I do have a background in screenwriting is actually really helpful, because ultimately comics is a visual medium, right? So you're writing for a story that's going to be told in art, a lot of times very beautiful art, which adds so much. And there's so much of the acting is in the visual storytelling, the facial expressions, the way that the panels are set up. So I think for me, it was kind of a very natural transition, because I was so already kind of accustomed to very visual storytelling. And then the same with writing for He-Man. It was just the first time that I've ever done anything animated. I feel like my work in comics actually helped inform me on that, because the same kind of thing, you're thinking about your jokes are maybe a little less dialogue jokes and a little more, physical and visual. I mean, of course, you're going to have the dialogue too, and that's really important. And obviously, like you, to me, the most important thing is the story, and everybody is working together collaboratively to tell the story in the best way possible. So ultimately, you're trying to tell a story. You're trying to have a good, compelling story that takes people on a journey, and everything, the art, the writing, the the inking, the lettering, everything is in service of that story. So that's
Makes sense. Yeah.
you know, the trends and stuff. I try not to. I mean, yes, you pay attention to, but it's kind of just what's going to work the best for the story is all I personally care about.
No, fair enough.
Is that how DC Superhero Girls came about? Like, was that something you did with your wife, or was that something?
No, DC Superhero Girls, I work with a variety of different artists on, but not my wife. I've done some Wonder Woman with Kat, and I've done some John Carpenter's Tales for Halloween Night with her, and we have a couple other things upcoming that I can't talk about yet. But the DC Superhero Girls actually was just an editor at DC that I had worked with on some other projects on Wonder Woman 77 and Teen Titans. Asked me if I would pitch a graphic novel for the new, at the time, the new version of DC Superhero Girls that was coming along with the launch of the cartoon. And so I did that, and now my second one is coming out this year in September, I think.
My kids love Teen Titans Go way too much. Way too much. The number of quotes that go around my house about Teen Titans, it's like, what was the other one? It's like, lame, and they tell me that to my face all the time, and I'm like, I need to cancel Netflix like yesterday.
My 6-year-old also loves Teen Titans Go. We have 2 cats, and their names are Raven and Starfire. So yeah, big Teen Titans Go house over here.
Oh my gosh, I need to integrate more comics into my household. My wife didn't grow up on it, so she's, it's not her world, but for me, it's something I'm so used to, between cosplay, between just, had my first comics when I was 5 or 6, and now that you're working on He-Man, it's so interesting to me, because after seeing the success of the 5 seasons of She-Ra and seeing how that played out, and She-Ra for a new generation, I'm so interested in what it's going to shape up to be, because we're past the entire beefcake and no substance, and we need like story and dialogue and all these other things. So I can't even imagine how you're going about reimagining it over there.
I wish I could tell you.
Well, Amanda, I'm gonna jump here and say, anytime you're ready to drop any unannounced news, we're right here on a Friday.
We'll be happy. Anytime you can pop work
it. Right. So it's always open for sure. But Casey's getting me excited. You had a comment, Amanda?
Oh no, I was just saying, I wish I would love to drop things. I like keeping my job, so I won't.
Amanda, that seems like one of the hardest things you have to do is, besides the job and all that, is not say things that are coming down the pike that people are going to be very excited about.
It's so hard. I just finished a comic book script today for something that I am teaming up with Kat on, that I'm really excited for. It's a character I've never worked on before, and I can't say anything. And yeah, that's the thing with something like He-Man. So animation takes so long. The first episode that I wrote for He-Man was in 2019. Like, if you remember way back before there was a pandemic, when we were innocent, hopeful, optimistic humans who interacted with other humans in person.
What happened to
like
that?
It was all the way there.
Right. And not interacting with humans, not in a way of, put your mask on. And why don't you have a mask? And
or, hey, sorry.
It's my medical exemption. Yeah, that kind of, yeah.
That whole interacting where you're like, hey, I was muted. Sorry. Is this working?
Yeah.
Right. Or Casey, unmute yourself. You just said half of what you had to say and we didn't hear you.
Exactly.
No one has ever told me to unmute myself. They're like, Casey, please find that mute button and use it immediately. Thank you.
So Doug, before we rev you up again, we have a question from Victor. Are you working with the Kevin Smith version of He-Man?
I am not. So what is crazy is that Netflix, or actually crazy fun, is that Netflix is doing 2 versions of He-Man, both animated, both He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So Kevin Smith's is for people like us, okay? So it's the nostalgic adults who grew up on He-Man, who want their old school He-Man.
Okay,
and he's doing that. I think it's going to be amazing. There's Sometimes there was little bits of, overlap in recording studios and stuff. So I don't know a lot about it, but I think it's going to be really cool. But that's not what I'm on. And so then what I'm on is the other He-Man that they're doing. And this is for our kids. This is for the new generation, new He-Man, very geared toward my daughter who's 6 and her friends who will grow up with this new He-Man. So what's very cool is they're actually doing both, and both will come out pretty soon.
As long as it's not He-Man in space, you're good.
Oh shit!
Oh, no. You're on to me.
Ooh.
All right.
It's He-Man the musical.
Oh, no, don't do that. I hate when freaking shows do that. And you're like, here's the musical version of Grey's Anatomy. And I'm like, oh.
Come on, there's only one though, Doc. There's only one musical show. It ruins the whole. It just ruins it.
Well, no, that's not true. If anybody else is old enough to remember Cop Rock, that was an entire show that was a musical about cops.
Right.
It was terrible.
Doug, I heard they're going to come back and do a reunion show of Game of Thrones, and they're going to do a musical.
They're writing it for Broadway. I read about that. Yeah.
Huh.
And if George R. R. Martin writes that and doesn't finish his other book, I'm going to be like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, Doug. Right. The musical of the Grays was not. It wasn't.
Buffy did have a good episode. That's true.
That was good. That was very good.
I will confess I have never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So
you need to go do that.
I walked
get
out
off
of
the
that
stream.
movie.
You need to get off the stream and go watch Buffy now.
Hang out. Just hang out.
Go.
Just go.
Yeah.
well, I haven't even got to my bad food opinions yet. You can't kick me out yet.
That's true. We have some things to dive into. That's very true.
We can. We can.
Stop it.
We can.
Be nice.
We can. Before he even gets to his avocado,
That's
blah blah blah. I know Doug has another question or another beer or both.
I'm going to do question first. I'm still not finished with my first.
You got a big one. You started with a.
Yeah, I started. Well, that was only 6.2. That wasn't as big as some of the stouts I've done. So,
but big flavor.
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes. Sometimes with the big flavor, it takes
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to explain to my kids before. Hold on, Doug, real quick before we get to it. This is what I was trying to tell my kids about spending more at a restaurant and getting less. And then understanding that when you get less, you're generally going to get, again, if you're at a higher end place, you're going to get better food and it's going to be so flavorful that you're not going to have to stuff your face with like they do here. And they're like, what? So anyway, that's my food thing for today.
You still walk away hungry though.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially if you're doing tapas. But
are you supposed to get full?
Hey, if we're Americans, man, we're supposed to eat past.
No, Doug. No.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, Doug, sorry, I had to jump in on that.
No, that's okay. This is what our show is. It goes a million directions. So another thing I wanted to ask is so you're doing stuff with He-Man and you're reimagining for kids that are like your kids' age. Casey's kids, I believe, are around the same age as yours. Are you finding that you're doing projects more geared towards that age range, or are you kind of like, well, that's just what I'm doing now, but I'm open to doing other stuff?
Well, it's so wild because, again, as you brought up before with my hodgepodge of a career, it's both. So obviously, DC Superhero Girls is geared towards kids, as is Teen Titans Go, as is He-Man. But at the same time, then I'm doing John Carpenter's Tales for Halloween Night, which is horror that is very adult, very graphic, gory, nudity, cursing, the whole shebang. And then I'll do, last year I was working on Sexology on Quibi, which is a sex and relationship show that really goes all in. And so my search history on my computer looks like I am just insane because I'll be doing little kid, preschool school stuff. And then it's how to make someone die in an S&M murder. And then it's the 3 best dildos for your next hot date. And it's like I'm a crazy person, which maybe
that
probably.
Sounds amazing.
Well, what if my search history looks like that and I'm not writing those things? Is that a
Oh my
problem?
God, stop.
You're probably on the same watch list that I am. Is all I'm saying.
Oh my goodness. Amanda,
Did-
I'm sorry, go
Hey,
ahead. Doug.
Casey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on you there.
No, I was just saying I'm just ridiculously envious of the opportunity that you and Kat have to raise a daughter in such a vivid culture. And I'm just wondering what that's like for you because you're at conventions where you see all sorts of stuff. You are tapped into so many different perspectives and everything in the realm just because everyone is trying to tell stories from gathering all these different pieces of information, all these different walks of life, and just tell the best stories possible. So what is that like raising a kid in that? Because I would imagine it's glorious personally, but that's just opinion.
Oh, it's phenomenal. For one thing, she gets to have all these very cool experiences. Back when we could go to conventions in person, she would get to like run around in costumes and see cosplayers being her favorite characters and then really interact and get to know people that create her favorite, movies and cartoon shows and characters. And, for her, that's just the norm, which is so crazy because when I was a kid, I didn't think of those people as real people, as I'm sure most of us didn't. But like when we switched to Zoom voiceover sessions for He-Man, because obviously that happened in the middle of the pandemic, so she got to like sit next to me and watch some of the VO get recorded for this cartoon that she'll later watch, which is like, I would have thought was pretty cool as a 6-year-old. For her, it's like, oh, of course, yes, these people voice these things, and mommy wrote it, and it'll be on my TV later. And I'm just like, you don't understand. This is very cool. I'm cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I get the opposite because my kids are teens, so it's like as cool as flown the coop a long time ago. So.
For sure. But she's like started to she's wanting to like write and draw her own stories. So she's really into Adventure Time right now. So we got her an Adventure Time journal and she's drawing and writing her own little Adventure Time stories. But it's like she kind of understands that it's what my wife and I both do for a living. So she's like, I'm writing like you and I'm drawing like mama and I need you to be quiet because I'm concentrating and I'm watching the show to get ideas. And I'm like, I wonder where you got that.
but how do you get her to stick to the NDAs? Like, how does that work?
So far, no good.
It's like
She's immediately like, look, I wrote this page. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Doug.
How do you follow that up? Meanwhile, I'm like, hey, kids, look, I just put in a faucet.
Which like, I can't do. So.
Which I'm poo-pooing that a little bit. My wife, Jill, and I redid our kitchen over the pandemic. And we went in not knowing how to do any of it. And
That's amazing.
And we did about 3 or 4 months. The only thing we didn't do was the countertops because I can't cut marble. And I'm not doing any of that.
That's phenomenal. Congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, the problem was like our kitchen had like the old like baby blue laminate countertops. They were sexy. And it was just like and we had like a linoleum floor. And the thing is, we bought the house when we weren't even married yet when we bought the house, and we have 4 kids because they're a blended family. So we were like, okay, well, we need to find a place where we can store all the kids. Like stuff wasn't even a consideration. Where can we put all these kids? And that was a sidetrack. But just seeing like everybody has different skills, and I like to write. I have only had one thing published, but like it's also a different kind of thing. Like I'm finding my space where I'm writing, but I can't write screenplay stuff because I haven't had any sort of experience with it and all that stuff. And seeing people being able to do that, and it's a skill. I just like, it's like seeing somebody who can, I don't know, for me, like doing something like playing instruments. I can't play any instruments. I find that fascinating. How do you just freaking do that? Like I just look at an instrument and I'm like, well, here, you play that because I'm not doing it. Yeah, I just really admire your skill set. So sorry if I'm gushing, but that's something that I admire.
Cheers.
Well, I mean, thank you,
Cheers,
but
sir.
obviously, you're a writer as well, so it's a skill set you have. So cheers to that. And I feel that way. I've been with my wife for like 12 years now, and I still, every time she draws something, I'm still like it's magic. I've watched her do it every day for over a decade, and I'm still just absolutely flabbergasted by how she makes that magic happen when she starts moving her pencil.
She's super skilled. I was looking at her Instagram page earlier today, and I was just kind of like looking at the portraits of like, wow, like there's, and I find that art doesn't translate well on Instagram though, because I'm just kind of like, how do you have like that many likes with that much skill? But people on Instagram are haters, so that's a thing. I'm not salty.
Yeah, it's weird. The whole social media thing does not necessarily translate to anything.
That's a quote. That's quotable right there. Social media does not translate to anything. I'm like, yes.
Right. Excellent.
Craig,
So
you poured yourself a tequila there. Did I see that?
I poured myself a tequila, but I just want Amanda to see. I don't think she can see some of these comments, so I'm gonna make sure she sees them. My daughter loves the DC superheroes girls, so thanks. Here's another one. My daughter really enjoyed superheroes girls when Teen Titans Go. We already heard what Casey said about Teen Titans Go.
Kids are hooked. So hooked.
Our friend John JHG said it must be very empowering for your daughter to see and dream of being superheroes and have their mom who can write those characters. And Casey said something along, his question was something along those lines. I don't know if you want to comment on any of those comments. And after that, we'll be done.
I mean, that's lovely, and I'm always so thrilled when I hear about kids enjoying it, because obviously, I mean, it's nice talking to the adults who are fans and you get to interact with them, but you don't always get to like see or hear from the kids, and it's so like I don't know, it's just lovely. There's kind of nothing better than seeing a kid holding your comic. It makes me very emotional every time. I love it so much. So yeah, and I hope it's empowering for my daughter. I think so. I hope it's empowering for everybody's kids. I mean, I hope that the kids get something out of it and can use it to become better people and view the world in a more positive way. That's the dream.
Well, it's also about representation too. Like that's the other part of this equation, is just knowing that you're seeing girls represented in superhero fashion. That isn't something where it's like, again, it's usually when you see the superhero females, it's always like kind of feels like sort of over sexualized instead of actually giving them like, here's their powers and they kick ass. I mean, the different part, like I think like was it Captain Marvel? I liked how they did that because it wasn't anything about it. Like, yeah, that woman's an attractive woman, but like her powers were freaking insane, and that's what they kind of focused on. And I think showing that that representation for girls, hey, you can go kick ass too, I think is really great.
I agree.
Yeah.
Amen.
Casey, you poured something really, really colorful. What was that? Holy crap.
I brought out my left field boss blackberry sour. I hate the reverse on this camera. Anyway, yeah, blackberry sour. It's a 3.6 ABV, but it's full of flavor. It's one of their premium bottles, and yeah, it's literally located like a 10-minute walk from me. But left field is pretty good. It's kind of like it's beer that is usually kind of like warm summer day chill beer, but every now and then they come up with something that is a little different. And the flavors on this one, I don't even have to try it because I've had it before and I know it's delicious. So
cheers to that, man.
Look at that. Your beer, my shirt. Look at that.
Yeah, it's almost the same color. Look.
Yeah.
Matchy cat.
Not right.
Matchy cat. Hey, Greg, I'm going to pull one you gave me a year ago. The last time you and I hung together.
Wow.
Before pandemic shut us all down. The Ambergeddon.
Ambergeddon. That's an awesome name.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
Yeah, it's been cellared for a year. I have no idea how this is going to turn out being cellared for a year. This could be really not great.
It's not going to be good. Not going to be good.
But I wanted to try it.
It's not.
That doesn't smell great.
So what Ambergeddon is supposed to be is an amber lager, which we've all had. We've all had an amber, or actually it's an amber ale, I believe, but it's supposed to be a hoppy version. So if you sit it in a cellar for a year,
like some of us idiots.
we're gonna have a very malty beer with no balance.
That would be an accurate description.
Boom!
Very malty and not a lot else going on. So
right. So and they make the big multi background so it can balance the hops, but not be too hoppy in an amber, if that makes any sense. Because amber beers aren't supposed to be really over hoppy; they're supposed to be, amber beers. And
yeah, that was a mistake.
I will send you out a fresh one that you can have it, and I think you'll love it because again, it'll balance out those hops.
You gave me a couple of them, and I had them fresh, and I thought, oh well, I have one of them. I'll just throw them in my cellar fridge, and that.
Do you remember fresh?
Yeah, the fresh was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's good, and it's not going to be too hoppy again because you just tasted the malt background on that one.
Yeah, I mean it's just
and it's big, but
it is not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably not finish this.
Oxidation, Doug, real quick. Any oxidation?
No.
Okay.
So just
Amanda, do you stray into the distilled spirits?
I do. I do it all. I just happen to have had a bottle of wine that I opened last night, and I have to finish it up tonight, or it'll be gross.
Well done.
So when you do you have a favorite? Doug's is scotch. Mine is tequila. I'm not sure we know Casey's. So do you have a favorite?
Sour beer.
Mezcal.
That's right.
Oh.
Remember? Yes, we talked about that. Yes.
Casey.
I'm a whiskey person, but I dabble in all of it.
Whiskey.
Well, whiskey is doesn't seem like a broad term, but it is. Scotch, bourbon, Irish.
It is. I'm a
Yes.
I'm a big Jameson girl. I mostly drink Jameson.
Oh.
But
Irish whiskey then. That's cool.
Cool.
Okay.
Joel
This
says
feels like a
bourbon.
good segue, though.
Bourbon. Yeah, Joel would say that.
Is it a good
Feels like a
segue,
good
Casey?
guys. Yeah. So one of the things that we find very polarizing on our show, and Doug, this is gonna get to you as well. Food. Do you have any no-goes, Amanda, when it comes to food? Because we've had people who don't eat gravy on the show, and we were very perplexed by that. Or like people who don't have, appreciation for chicken and waffles, and we're very confused by that too.
What?
Because they're both delicious food.
Who was that?
I may have lied on that one. I totally lied and exaggerated because I know you're from LA, Amanda, and I love Roscoe's, and I just wanted to drop them in there because it's so good.
Yes, but I my most controversial, I think, no-go, and very contradictory for me being a lesbian, is that I hate melons. I'm very anti, especially watermelon, cantaloupe, very anti-melon.
I also hate cantaloupe, so it's all good for me. Mm-hmm.
That's not even
Yeah, I'm
that
not a
bad,
lesbian,
though.
so
That's not. I mean, again, we don't like gravy, and I was just ready to end the stream right there.
that was a 20-minute discussion. I wasn't even on the stream that night, and I jumped on to be like, "What are you talking about? What is this madness? I don't understand."
I grew up in the southern United States, so I'm definitely pro gravy for sure. But.
And Doug doesn't like avocados, but we deal with them on a weekly basis.
That's my thing.
Well, I live in Los Angeles, so obviously I'm very pro avocado. We put it on everything. Like we put it on our toothpaste and brush our teeth with it. It's the whole thing.
Hey, I would not. Is that like a Whole Foods thing? Because I could see that being.
I'm making it up, but it's probably a Whole Foods.
Okay. I was like, I don't.
Casey was like, "Is she kidding, or is she really brushing her teeth with an avocado?"
LA never surprises me anymore. Just like, oh, we're doing brushing with avocado now. Cool. Okay, great.
And we use it as a deodorant. It's like a whole.
Well, if you see they have
use a pit as a roll-on.
They have charcoal deodorant, so if they can have charcoal deodorant, I'm sure they can have avocado deodorant.
Well, the big thing for a while here was the charcoal ice cream, but it was mostly for the Insta. So like it was like because like the color is such like a deep charcoal, and then you would take your pictures and then eat it, and then of course it's like a cleanse, so it fill in the blanks.
So did it make your teeth like the? You know how you have charcoal toothpaste, and you could? Does it make your teeth look like that when you eat the charcoal ice cream?
Yeah, like a little bit. I tried it once, obviously, because I couldn't not, and it wasn't that bad. It was fine. I don't know. It didn't change my life. I didn't ever go back and do it again, but it was fine.
This is why I'm not in marketing, because my slogans would be horrible. Ice cream you can give a shit about.
Okay, then let's piggyback on that a little bit. Then, what is your, if you're in LA and all that stuff, what is your go-to food restaurant, or is there a style that you guys prefer? Or
I'm a big sushi lover, which is gonna surprise no one. It's the most Angelino lesbian answer I could possibly give, but there it is. Love sushi. It's our daughter's favorite food too, so she's constantly asking us to order sushi, which works out for everybody. But I'm not a very picky eater. I like to try restaurants. I like to try different cuisines. Like I'm kind of all in except the melons. I just can't get down with melons.
Everything but melons.
that might have been the thing that startled me and made me laugh the most on this show, because that's coming. Oh.
Doug, do you want to do another beer because you didn't like that?
Yeah, I think I have to, because that's what I'm
Ambergaddon.
not going to drink any more of. So, I'm going to surprise both you guys.
Uh-oh.
Double IPA.
Gumball Dream.
Yeah, from our friends at the North Brewery, Greg.
They do IPAs.
They do.
I'm scared by your beer.
What's that?
I'm scared by your beer. Elements that don't seem to go together are happening right now. So
Yeah,
you
because
let me know.
The thing is, Amanda, I don't really generally drink IPAs, and I'm drinking a double IPA, which is like really uncharacteristic for me. So,
Way to get out of your
It's more
comfort zone. Glad I could be here for it.
well, to be honest, when Greg and I started this show, I didn't drink IPAs at all, and Greg kind of turned me on to different things. So it was like been a good thing. This is not giving a whole lot of head on it, but nice color. It's styled as a Northeast Citra double IPA. I'm not a super big fan of their logo art on this particular can, but
Oh, it's like the Tootsie Roll Pop wrapper.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I didn't even notice that. Good call. Jeez, I didn't even. I'm
I
old.
ate a lot of Tootsie Roll Pops as a kid.
So, very much Northeast IPA on the nose. Oh boy, that is lovely. What's really weird is the name is Gumball Dream, and at the very tail end of that, you get a very small bit of like bubblegum flavor. So,
If you like it, so be it. But that ain't for me.
no, it's not like bubblicious. It's not like that. Just a little bit at the end.
It's like one of those.
My brother-in-law, when I was talking to him earlier about it, he asked me to check and if that was something I would notice when I tried it tonight. But he noticed that when he tries the Treehouse or Trillium beers, which is the Northeast IPA house for both of those things. But he knows that, and I wasn't expecting that at all. So,
is the finish a good thing?
Lauren's asking the questions that are on my mind.
Yeah, is it a good thing?
Again, it's a hint of it at the end. It is not like I'm going to here's Bazooka Joe for you at the end of the.
So is it good or bad though?
I think it's really good.
Okay.
I think Greg, I might have to send you one of these because I'd be curious what you think of it. But
I'm curious that the North has an IPA.
they've been doing lots of sours lately there, which they're like a stout house. So they. Oh, Casey, I forgot. You said some north of the border there. Sorry.
Every time.
So I got a very ordinary IPA here. Nothing bad. Nothing really to talk about. So I'm gonna.
So you're not gonna talk.
I'm gonna. What do they say in the Senate? I'm gonna recute what I'm recalling my time. What did it say?
It's
reclaiming my time.
Thank you. I'm reclaiming my time.
Yeah, it was a Kamala Harris thing, and when she was regrilling someone, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there's also
there's also conceding your time so someone else can go.
oh,
But like, yeah, that was awesome.
yeah. Mm.
So,
When Kamala
Amanda-
Harris is in the Senate kicking everybody's ass, right? Right.
And the show's tied to a very active Facebook group, and they share a lot of the beers they're trying all over, primarily the nation. When I say the nation, I mean the United States. I'm up in Toronto, so I'm basically always looking over the border with envy at how many different flavors there are of things. And our friend Lauren is actually commenting right now, as you saw before, and she's trying all the sours in all the places, and I'm just like, freaking. So I'm waiting for the borders to open so I can come and just basically stuff all like the
And
sour
just drink-
smoothies. And
drink
just
the United States.
Go crazy.
I'm gonna need to
Bring it
see that. I'm gonna need to see that vaccination passport now.
I will get quadruple vaccinated just to come over and try those beers. All right, it's like just give me extra shots just in case. Let's go.
Because I need to see yours, but you don't have to see mine. That's how it works in America.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
understanding this double standard. This double standard makes no sense to me, but let's go.
Oh, listen, it only makes sense to the people who want the double standard to be, of course. So, America, we're all about the double standard. That's our whole. That's how we roll. Casey.
Kind of our brand.
That's on brand. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very on brand.
And actually on brand is I want to show a video if Doug will let me.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So Amanda, I like to show. I don't know if you ever see our stream before. I would hope that you at least saw a little bit before you know what you're getting into with us crazy cats here. But if you didn't, one of the things I love to do is show videos. Especially in the pandemic, I've been showing just like freak out to like masks and people, because I've been hiding most of this pandemic and I haven't been out, so I haven't been able to see it. So part of it is like bringing like the world to me a little bit and see. So we didn't want to like, you're a professional lady in a professional job, very public. So we didn't want to, do anything crazy this week. But I wanted to see your reaction to this video and like, what would you do if you were put in this position or you were in this spot when this happened? And it'll take a little bit to. I'm pretty sure that's a Komodo dragon, like a real one.
Where do you find this stuff?
Look at him now.
It's amazing.
No.
Oh, no.
So like part of the amazement of a lot of these things is like, especially when it's like, people fighting or like something bad going on. It's just people with their phones and they're just sitting there. And you know what I mean? They're just taping it. There's no way I could sit there and just tape that thing. There's just no way. I would have been out in a 2 seconds. Where would you be, man? Well, are you an animal person? Would you?
First of all, this is where I bring up that I was raised in Central Florida. So, like, that's practically just like a Tuesday in my childhood.
That's a Tuesday.
I'm like, I think that's one of my cousins. I think there's a very high probability that I'm related to that lizard. Also, I'm 5'2", so that's exactly how I get something off the top shelf. It's just that's if that's not in Florida, I will die from shock because that is the most Florida thing I have ever seen in my life.
I'm pretty sure it was Thailand or New Zealand or something like that.
I think it was New Zealand.
Okay, that actually also very much tracks. But
I just want to say that the Godzilla versus Kong promos are really, really intense this time.
I heard it's horrible.
No, I was making fun of the video as being Godzilla crawling. Sorry, that was a vague
I got it.
reference.
I was there.
I'm pretty lowbrow with my dumb humor. So.
Well, and the joke went.
Amanda, the most surprising part of that video for me, Amanda, was actually how wholesome it is because normally when Greg shows us a video, it's just like I feel it in my soul where I'm like, I don't know what I just watched, but I feel wronged. I don't know what to do in my life anymore. But now I'm just like, oh, look at Komodo dragon. Oh, that's cute.
You know,
I feel like you went really easy on me.
you know, remember the days when we go to the market and we just see a Komodo dragon instead of 10 douchebags?
You could just be like, "Excuse me, sir, could you pass me that while you're up there?"
So, Amanda, have you seen any? I don't. You saw the intro of the man on a motorcycle dancing and all that. So, have you seen any? Have you seen any happy freakouts or negative freakouts during the pandemic? Have you seen any mass screaming? Were you around? It just seems like it's going on a lot. And people seem to all have a story or something that they can relate.
I mean, we've been pretty locked in. I did last year for a little while have to go into work with a lot of masks on, but we've been pretty locked down. I will say there's a restaurant down the street from where I live that has decided to become like a big protest site against masks, against the government shutting down restaurants, against all of that. And it continues to escalate. Where like they've had the power turned off and they've been shut down and the doors were locked, but then they've cut through the locks and they're like cooking food like on a generator or like in the back of like shopping carts. Like it's really weird. It's just become where like people are like coming in from all over to try to like have their freedom to have a burger cooked on like a shopping cart. So that's been a little weird. Especially to have it like right here in the neighborhood. And like the other day there was counter protests and then like the police showed up in riot gear. And I was just like, we're just going to lock the doors and not get into this. So that's been weird.
Show.
Doug, follow up.
Actually, I have a question about California with the pandemic stuff. I saw recently that they were going to try to open everything up by, was it July 15th?
I think that's correct.
Yeah. Is that, I live in New York State, so the vaccination schedule here has been started out weird and actually got pretty strong. How is it in California? Has that actually been pretty good? Or like, I've heard a lot of varying reports depending on which news source you're trying. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's been California. We've been kind of all over the place all year and like how things are going. We've been very locked down, but I think the vaccine schedule seems like it's starting to make sense and like catch up and like they're opening it up. So like I feel optimistic that maybe by this summer we will have things in a better state, but we'll see. It's been such a weird year that optimism is not my jam anymore. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like it was before. Amanda, it sounds like it was before, and now you're like, it's not my jam anymore.
Yeah, no, I used to be like a real Pollyanna, just like really always looking for the bright side, the silver lining. And now I'm like, after the past year, that gets a little complicated.
Right?
Silver lining isn't so shiny anymore.
She's a writer, clearly, because she can. Right, I'm putting this all together, Casey. It takes me a while. I'm sorry, but JC does make a good point, though. California is such a big state; it's hard not to imagine that it's Mad Max in some places. Like it really is, what, the sixth biggest economy in the world. If it was its own country, I mean, it's like 4,000 miles of coast. I mean, it's just, or not that, but it just feels that way. It's just a big state that encompasses a lot of people and has a lot of diversity too. So it's really, I mean, people just think California is like a liberal. It's just not. I mean, again, overall, the most people there are liberal and they vote that way, or they vote Democrat. But I mean, there are clear pockets of Republicans and clear pockets of libertarians and independents. So California is, I don't know, I think it's one of the best places to live. I think if you can afford it, just from a diverse point of view and looking, if you would project California to the rest of America, is this not even close as far as diversity and the different, in my opinion, aspects of culture that they provide to the country. Sorry, East Coast people, you're not gonna like that, but it ain't my fault. So blame California, don't blame me. Go on, Casey.
I mean,
yeah, I'm going. Yeah, Casey, because this is what's going to happen. The New York people are going to be like the bagels aren't as good or something. And then something, and then we're going to have this argument back and
No,
forth.
I straight up miss being at Long Beach. I took a trip there. I was commenting to the guys earlier that, the last trip I took to LA area was like 15 years ago. So it's been a while. But I do miss like being in Long Beach and buying like tacos out of Abuela's windows and just being like, yo, this is so good. Like I had a lot of awesome experiences down in LA and LBC. So yeah, definitely something I want to return to, I think, post-pandemic.
It's great. I mean, especially, the diversity in the community and all that, especially in our big cities. I mean, there are, like you said, if you get into the more rural areas, there's also a lot of farmland in California. So it really depends on what part of the state and where you are and what kind of experience you're going to have. But I love it. I've been here since 2006, and it definitely feels like home to me now. And I love it a lot.
I just think it gets a bad rap as like, a leftist kind of thing. And to me, California is a really, really good reflection of America. Generally,
I agree.
Actually. And the diversity that it brings. Joel makes a really good comment here. And it made me think a little bit. Toxic positivity. I'm glad you're free of it. No, but listen, no. People don't think of positivity as a negative. Meaning we always
positive.
Right, but it can be a negative if you're like, oh, I'm really positive about apartheid.
Oh, yo, wow.
No. I'm glad you picked something light.
Clearly wrong, right? Or how about this? Let's make everybody laugh again. I'm really positive about Mitch McConnell.
Oh,
so I'm just saying. This is why this hits home. Thanks, Joe.
I'm with Joel on that. I think that the toxic positivity thing is always bad. Like when people do the whole like something horrible happens to you, and then people go, "Well, everything happens for a reason," or something like that, and you're like, and like that shit never has been and never will be okay.
right.
Or the what doesn't kill you make you stronger. No, that thing almost killed me. That almost killed me. That didn't make me stronger. It made me a lot weaker at the moment.
Right. Now I'm missing an arm. Thank you so much.
I'm so much stronger now.
Right. Victor makes a comment here. I'm not sure if anybody's in on it, but the Netflix show City of Ghosts has made me want to visit every non-touristy place in California. Amanda?
That show is so cool. We've been watching it with our daughter. It's super cool. I love it. It's like an animated show, but they do a deep dive into like the history of LA from a very like diverse and culturally rich and like the histories of the neighborhoods that you don't know a lot about kind of point of view through ghost stories. It's super cool. Definitely check it out. Very with you on that, Victor.
Cool.
Just added it to my list.
Yeah, that's like my youngest son is like really into like ghost adventures, partially because it's ridiculous, but like I think he would totally dig that. So I'm gonna have to put that on my list too. Thanks,
great.
Victor, and Amanda. Thanks for backing that up because now I have to watch that.
There you go. Casey?
I'm just like, now I'm reliving LA in my head, and I'm just like all sad face on this side, but it's okay. It's fine. We'll fix this. We will fix this. Toronto has lots of awesome stuff, but it just doesn't have, as authentic food that you can get in LA when it comes to different cuisines. And yeah. KCC
2023. Wow.
That's so that's so far away. Oh my goodness.
Joel hits us with the toxic positivity thing, and then he hits us with the toxic realism. Like
no, he hits us with the entire punch to the gut. Like, yeah. Like you would cross that border anytime soon, Casey. Like, don't even try it. I'm like,
Well, to be fair, your rollout up there hasn't been freaking great. So
how creepy is the City of Ghosts show?
Very low. It's not scary. We watch it with our 6-year-old. It's from the point of view of ghosts, but like you won't be scared of it, Lauren.
Like, look at this.
Oh,
Look at
okay.
this, Lauren. Look at this. It looks like cute. Wait, hold on. I messed up. Hold on.
All right.
It's
Hold
cute.
on.
Joe's all about that safety.
There you go. Look at that. It looks all cute and stuff. Like that's not bad.
Oh, okay.
You can
Oh,
rock
okay.
that. That's good.
Well, which
But it's
is,
cool. It's really interesting.
yeah. So which is bigger, Amanda? Your to be watched pile or your to be read pile?
Oh God. Both piles are huge because I'm trying to work. My daughter has been in distance kindergarten all year, so I'm also basically a kindergarten teacher.
Wow.
You know, and we've all been, because we're like still very locked down here, so we haven't really left our house all year. So so both piles are pretty sizable. I slip in things when I can, but it's a busy day.
Amanda.
Any Zoom freakouts? Any kids going crazy? I literally homeschool my kids. So they were homeschooled before the pandemic. So then we don't have to do the Zoom thing, which is interesting. But there's been Zoom freakouts where teachers have been arguing with parents, and I love. I'm sorry. Is it that I love the worst of humanity? Is that what it is, Doug? What is it? There's something about it. I'm fascinated by it or something.
Yeah, there's a sad thing with people where you go, oh well, at least I'm not that bad.
I mean,
okay.
For sure.
All right, so no Zoom freakouts. I'm sorry, Casey. I thought you had a question, or Doug.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So Amanda, I assume let me retract that statement. You're very busy. I can tell from just like the number of things you have your fingers into, everything that I get. What are your views? Or that's not the way I want to phrase this. Do you have an idea in your head for a creator-owned project that you would eventually want to see come out into the world? Because I'm a huge disciple of Invincible. Invincible was like such a huge game changer for me when it came out in 2003, and I followed it. I have all the graphic novels in my house. I've read them like 10 times over, and now that it's animated, I'm like, well done, Kirkman and team. But I'm just wondering, like, what does that look like for you, especially when you have so many other things that you're doing?
I mean, the sad part, because yes, I do. I have several. There's actually several creator-owned things that my wife and I would like to do together. The difficult thing is that's always the thing that goes on the back burner, because it's like, first you do the jobs that you have, and so then you're always like, well, I need to do this job, because and I love those jobs, so it's not to disparage, but you're like, this job is going to pay the bills, I'm going to do this thing, and then you're like, and I have to teach my daughter kindergarten, and then at some point, I don't know, my family has to eat and I have to cook dinner or whatever. And so unfortunately, those are always the things that go on the back burner, but I do definitely, my goal is sometime, maybe by the time you do your 2023 America tour, I'll do my 2023 creator-owned book.
Oh, you fit in so well, Amanda. I get roasted every episode, so you're right in here. Thank you. Welcome to the family.
Simulated like nothing.
I feel the warm embrace of roastiness right now.
Yeah. This is why we like to have people have a glass of wine. It takes the edge off. You jump in and you're just trying to have a good time. Daniel says he loves Invincible so far. I need to watch today's episode.
So do I, actually. Yeah.
Think JHG's talking about the same thing? It's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
And he says after he's no idea it was based on a graphic novel. See.
Okay.
So I will sidebar for a moment here. But what Invincible represents is that it is a deviation from what ruled the comics industry for so long. If you look at the 90s, it was huge into huge muscular superheroes and over the top storylines where they were killing off heroes or giving them all these horrible situations to be in just to try and push more comic sales. And it just felt like very two-dimensional in a lot of ways. And so Invincible and several other creator-owned properties came along in the 2000s where they wanted to challenge the entire idea of what the comic book industry represented and say, hey, we can tell different kinds of stories that don't align to what the big three basically at the time were really pushing at the time. It's so Invincible was at a time where I was also coming up as an artist, and I realized that if you have a story and ideas that are good enough, you can break away from the norm and do your own thing, and it can be successful. And Robert Kirkman, Cory Doctorow, and the rest of the team who were drawing and creating Invincible were in a forum called the Pencil Jack forums at the time, and so we'd all be in there swapping ideas and like talking about it, and it was just so immersive. Like before social media was a thing, you had access to your creators that were making this comic book that was doing well, and you're like there and you're in the process, you're learning about it, and it was just so awesome. And so and it felt like it was an experience you just didn't have before, because everything was in such a black box and behind curtains. So for me, Invincible is a huge turning point for what was possible with the comics industry. We take a lot of that for granted now in the age of oversharing and social media, but at the time it was something we never ever thought was even possible. So Invincible has a very deep place in my heart, in one of my most reread series that I own at home. That and Lone Wolf and Cub, which is like a 1980s Japanese Edo era story about a who was once a shogun's executioner. He gets betrayed by a ninja clan and disgraced, and has to go wander around the countryside with his infant son. And it's like 40,000 pages of story, but it's also amazing. If you guys want comic book nerdery every week, I will bring it. I know too much. That was fun. I'm good. I'm gonna shut up now.
I love it so much.
Amanda comment. Doug?
I don't even know how to follow it up because I'm not really into the comic book stuff. Like my whole comic book stuff is like, hey, what's Marvel? And that's unfortunately it's a very narrow concept of everything. And so I just don't really like have a way to kind of jump into that.
All right, Doug. Well, Victor says it's the wrong time to partake in the box of individual.
It is.
Flag. I was.
Yeah, Victor,
Victor.
Let's talk. Let's talk. I have Victor, money burning a hole, and I don't have the money, but slowly. I can find it.
Is the new Invincible or Amazon Prime?
Yeah, the Amazon Prime Invincible is the cartoon adaptation of the comic I was talking about, Darren. So I'd remember I'd seen at one point it was getting a cartoon, totally forgot, and then saw it pop up on my screen one day. I'm like, ah! So yeah, it's been a fun week. It's been a fun month. It's been good. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Amanda, was this always a vision? I'm sorry, Doug. Amanda, was this something that you knew you were going to do, or is this something that presented itself to you as you progressed in your life?
Writing was always a part of my life. I didn't know that I was gonna write comics per se. They were always a part of my life. I remember even as like a little girl, if I behaved well in the grocery store, my mom would buy me an Archie's comic at the end at the checkout as like a reward, or Betty and Veronica's Digest or something. And then later, one of my best friends in high school's father ran the local comic book store, and I would go hang out with her while she worked there after school. So it was always like a part of life. I didn't know I would necessarily get into it. And it kind of was something that presented itself to me. And then it is now my favorite thing I do. I love writing for TV as well, but there's just something about storytelling through comics and the way that it's collaborative and the art and just everything about it that I just really love. But it wasn't like I went to school and set out and was like, I'm going to write comic books. I got really lucky.
So I just remember that I had an envelope of like old convention stuff I put together from back when, but it was like the nerdery was like so much. Like I would sketch it out on like lined paper. This is like early 2000s. So
I love it.
I would like do a black and white version, take it over to Kinko's and put it all together.
Oh, and, like that shit. That's awesome.
Thing about this,
that's awesome.
That's your shit.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You had the comic, but then on the borders, I put like a director's cut, so the actual panel borders are them
I
commenting on the
love
comic
that.
that's happening. And then
I love that.
Thank you. And then I made the comic itself, and then this is the book that got sold. Fish and Chimps Convention Dementia.
Oh my god, I love it.
So yeah, it was such a fun and ridiculous part of my life for a good while. I have a lot of friends who have gone on from that to become tattoo artists and, you know, express themselves in all these different kind of ways. But for a good while there, we'd be sitting at the Starbucks near the, you know, big mall in our town and just kind of like sit there for hours sketching away. And it was really fun because everyone's always trying to one up each other. You always had like, okay, I had this cool idea, let me sketch this out. And then your friend comes up with this other thing, and then you spend like 8 hours and you don't sleep. You're drinking coffee all night, just trying to get this one like, you know, detailed sketch out. And it was just always, it was a really fun era of my life before I decided to like try this growing up thing, which took me on another path for a while. But now I'm getting back to the creative side of things.
Wow. Casey, I need the FNC. Victor says that's dope. Joel says Kickstarter, man. JG says that's awesome, Casey.
You're all too
right,
kind.
right.
I appreciate it.
I think this one is for Amanda. Say I have loads of Archie comments. Do you like the live show Riverdale?
Riverdale, yeah. It's the live action version of the Archie comics, but like much darker than but I actually haven't watched any of Riverdale, and which is sad because I had a friend who was writing on it, but it's like I said, my to watch list is pretty intense. So I did watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which was
okay.
But I haven't gone into Riverdale yet, which I feel a little guilty about, but I only have so many hours of the day.
I know, and there's so much good content
and there's
out there. I mean,
so much.
so much.
That's why I was asking the question earlier about which is larger, your to be read pile or to be watch pile, because it is. So I will tell you that I am not a binge watcher. I can't sit more than an episode or two. It's a curse of fidgetiness. Like I can't sit still. Like if I'm sitting, I feel like what am I doing? I need to be doing something. And so like weirdly reading I can do. I can sit for a while and read. Watching TV for me, maybe it's because I grew up like you're watching TV, you're wasting time. It's your brain, like so, like you know. I just wonder if that's part of it, but like, there's so much good freaking shit to watch. How do you like? And it depends. Here's the problem: like, I have things that I like, and then there's genres I like, but there's stuff that I want to see, and then they're like. For instance, one of the weird things that I really freaking loved that I didn't think I would, and the only reason I watch it was because John Scalzi wrote a few of the episodes, was Love, Sex, and Robots on Netflix.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
That series, and some of the episodes are 7 minutes long. It's like the weirdest thing. They're all animated. Some of them are long. Some are 20 minutes. Some are 7, 15. There's an episode about yogurt taking over the world. I swear to you, it is
okay.
It is sound.
We need to explain this for Greg. Greg has a very skeptical look on his face. So
no, it is.
It's a series of episodes of animated storylines based on the concepts of love, sex, or robots, or combination of all of them. And it is very well done. It is amazing, and I've rewatched it 5 times because it's just so good. And they're quick watches.
They're all excellent.
Back to Doug. I'm not talking.
No, that is But again, it's like that's something I wouldn't have done. But I've read bunches of Scalzi's books. So I was like, oh, well, he wrote a couple. Let me check that out. And I was like, holy shit, this is great. But like, that's a thing that sometimes you stumble into stuff like that. Like there's, you know, how do you I stumbled into Black Mirror. That was something I stumbled into. And that is one of the best shows I've seen in 10 years because it's every episode afterwards. You're like looking at it like, fuck, is that really how that shit's gonna work? Because holy shit, it's fucking scary.
I know, and I have to say, San Junipero is one of like the best pieces of lesbian content I've ever seen. Like, it's so lovely.
Yeah, and it's like heartbreaking at the end because she was like trying to decide what path to go, and I'm just like, and everybody's rooting for her to go the right path, and she does, and it just
that was a beautiful episode.
Yeah.
Aww. Amanda, did you work on Warehouse 13?
I did not. But if anyone wants to hire me to work on anything, like I said, I'm a girl who doesn't say no.
Yeah, we did do Black Mirror, and that was the reason they didn't make a season for Black Mirror. The creator said, "We're living through dark enough shit. You don't need more dark shit."
Which I appreciate. I honestly appreciate.
There's a Twilight Zone in the new century. Okay, that makes me want to see it. Because Twilight Zone fuck with my head.
Wait, you haven't seen Black Mirror?
That show will.
Oh, Black Mirror will fuck your head up.
Wait, whoa, you haven't seen Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Yo,
can I make a suggestion on that?
What platform? Casey, what platform?
Netflix.
Casey, what is it on? Netflix?
Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't watch the first episode first.
Oh yeah, fair point. Fair point.
Skip that one and go because they're not connected. You don't have to watch them in order. You can watch them like because they're all standalones, but don't watch it because the first episode I watched, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, like that is really, really super fucked up. And then
It's a hell of a first episode. Like, how is that your introduction?
So go to episode 2, and then when do I come back to episode 1?
You can go after you have a few episodes under your belt.
Yeah,
and go back to episode 1.
Warm yourself up.
You'll get it. But
when you're ready to like throw up. And
yes, Victor, you are entirely right. Oh. Hey,
the first episode will make you okay.
Whiskey. I'm going to share an Irish whiskey that I actually got for my wife, but I thought you might be interested in this one, Amanda. It's silky Irish whiskey.
Oh, I love the mix of silky. It's a silky.
Yeah.
What's a silky?
I love it.
I will let Amanda explain that.
It's like an Irish water folklore.
Bay person.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
And basically, I think the lore is that they are seals, but can shed their seal skin to become more human. Is that
human? Yeah.
Human. Yeah. That's what it is. Okay. But I bought that because. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say there was just a beautiful animated film about. I think it was like maybe Song of the Silky or something that just came out like this last year that was gorgeous. But anyway, Sherry whiskey. How is it?
So the reason I bought that was my wife did write an actual book, and had a first draft done and redid. She's redone it 3 times, and I'm not a fantasy fae book. I'm more sci-fi horror, but it's outstanding, and it's not just because that's the woman I sleep in bed with every night. It's really fucking good, but the problem is it has a sort of it almost hits a little too close to home with climate change and stuff. So, and then in the middle of the pandemic, she's like, I can't look at it. And I was like, but I saw that, and I had to actually special order it through the liquor store just because this is fucking great. And so came about 2 weeks after her birthday, so it wasn't quite on time, but
it's still very sweet.
It is.
Very
yeah.
Okay.
Eric, the first episode. That's why I said skip the first one and go further. You will everything else out.
Yeah. Eric's a friend of mine who wanted to get a link to the show. So Eric, please go watch Black Mirror. It will change your life in all the good ways and some bad ways, but you'll accept them all.
One was odd for sure.
Eric, go to like San Junipero because that one has like a nice happy, like that's a good like get in there and then go back to the
And then there's things like Hang the DJ, which is also more of an uplifting one too, which is a really great episode.
Hang the DJ, that's uplifting. Okay.
You heard it.
Wow.
He said what he said. He said what he said.
Wait, hear me. This Twilight Zone fuck with my head.
Yeah, that was a fucking show.
And like we mentioned this before, like 2 weeks ago, old Alfred Hitchcock. Like that kind of like psychological, like, yeah, and I wake up in the morning and I had dreams because you guys told me to watch this shit and I couldn't sleep. Right. Like that kind of shit.
Okay.
Right.
But let's break it down. So JHG mentioned that it got lighter in the later seasons. Yes, because Black Mirror started as a UK show. And if you ever watch UK TV, UK goes hard when it comes to television. You do not mince anything. You get like the grittiest and realest TV possible. When you get, and then Netflix got rights to it, and they kind of watered it down in a lot of ways. They had a few good episodes where it's just kind of like, okay, cool. They kind of kept the vibe of it, but you get a very different vibe from the later episodes because it became a Netflix property. Same things happens with Top Boy. Top Boy started out in the UK, and it was like this gritty, council estate show where it's just like the scummiest of people, the darkest of times. And then it became a lot more cinematic when Drake became an investor and it became a Netflix property later on in season 3. So UK TV is where my heart is when it comes down to television. It also has scared me from ever going back to London and ending up in the wrong neighborhood because I feel like I'm just going to walk down the street and get stabbed randomly because that's just how they roll. But UK TV is amazing.
So over there you get stabbed randomly and here you get shot up, right? Is that
I was about to say, but you want to come to the United States?
Right.
I mean,
here we'll shoot you down for sure. I don't even want to joke about it.
Let's talk about an ideological conflict here.
You know what I mean? We've had 99 days and 130 mass shootings or something.
How do you pull that off?
It's a national hobby.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen the Donald Glover video, and that's exactly the fucking thing.
Also, another thing we do in America that's really well, Casey, is that okay, what are we laughing about? Our deceased artists almost release more music than when they're alive. And my point is that I'm a Spotify guy, and then I hang out and so I can remain young even though I'm an old fuck. I hang out at the new whatever the new songs are. So me and the lady almost every week sit down and like the artists that we know, we'll click on the songs that we like they put out and we're listening to it. So Prince released a song this week or something called Welcome to America. And he's just talking about like how you like your iPhone and there's all these hitches with America. Like, you think you might be getting something and there's a hitch to everything in America. It's a really good song, actually. It's 5 minutes. Pretty good. But it was just like it really got me back to the whole. And then when I was listening to it, I was scrolling and I saw that we've had 90 days this year or something, and we've had like over 100 mass shootings. So and it's not again, this isn't tied to who the president is. This is tied to our culture. This is who we are. And until we embrace that about who we are, we're not going to change it. And half of us don't want to act like it's who we are. And the other half is like, this is who we are, and this is disgusting, and we're just fucking tired of it. And so, yeah, I don't know why we got all serious, but this is how it works on this screen.
It happens on the show. It's all good. And
we go from gravy to, go on, Casey.
I was going to say, man, one of the things we do every now and then, for my benefit largely, is a segment we call Help Me Understand America. Because even though we're separated by this invisible border between nations, it's a very different culture down in the States than it is up in Canada. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we have come to understand up in Canada is that even our Walmarts are very different. Walmart down in the States, as I understand it, is a place where you can purchase both guns and coffins in the same place. And up here, we're like... we buy groceries and clothes. That's it. All this other stuff. Like, what the hell? So it's just a very different culture, and we've come to appreciate that over time.
Appreciate?
Understand. Okay. Appreciate as in understand. There's a difference.
No. I got you.
Oh yeah, we want more of that, and we don't want that.
Right? Because I'm like, just appreciate. It's not.
Right. Yeah, no, that's not that version of appreciate.
Right. For me as an American, bubbling in this, percolating. That's the word I like. Right. It is. Amanda, do you have any comments on any of the riffraff?
On our atrocious gun culture, or like just the.
Go where you like.
Right. We're not stopping you from any. Yeah, you can just. Right, or you can pass so you can say no.
I agree with everything I agree with everything that you said, and yeah, no, it's and I definitely grew up in it, and it's
Yeah.
Doug?
Greg,
Go ahead, Casey. You finish your point.
I was going to say, yeah, just one quick thing is like Greg was mentioning about the fact that you have tons of posthumous releases that come out from your dead artists. I was just saying, DMX passed earlier today, and they already put out a best of album for him on Spotify today, and I was like, but it's I understand the power of the almighty dollar. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's waiting periods are okay. It's okay to wait.
Yeah, I worked with him. One of my first jobs when I moved to LA actually was working on DMX Soul of a Man, and working with him and hanging out with his crew. And my best friend slept on his couch in Arizona. He was really, really good to us. Really, one of the first people I got to know when I moved here. So yeah, it's kind of sad.
This show just got a half hour longer. Okay, talk, girl. Let's go. Let's talk.
Right.
Greg, Doug, have a good night. Amanda and I are talking, y'all. We're talking.
All right. Bye.
No, the best. Then we have to ask best DMX story.
I mean, just that. Just it was not like we were particularly close, but he was lovely and kind and sweet, and so were the guys on his crew and everybody. Like, I got a lot of pep. I was very young. I was in my early 20s and very new to everything. Got a lot of lovely pep talks and encouragement, and it's a very nice memory.
I've only heard good things about him in that he was just good to people, and though he was a tortured soul and tortured by his demons and everything that came from his past, he was always good to people. So yeah, thank you.
I believe we're all tortured. It's a barometer thing. It's you know what I mean? Some are more than others. Some go through more trauma than others. But I think on some level we all relate, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this I'm just gonna put this out there for you writers. I have no idea.
Yes, I have, and there's a actual thing on Amazon Prime where it's a series of stories based on episodes based on Philip K. Dick short stories. That's an actual show.
Oh wow!
I think it's called Electric Dreams, if I'm not mistaken.
Joel opened up this can of worms. I'm not sure we wanted to go there, but I'm just gonna say it.
Oh boy. Oh no.
I think I might know where Amanda lies on this one. I could be wrong.
Well, I'm a both girl. I have a hard time with this because I really like well, that sounds insulting because I was gonna I kind of personality wise vibe more with Star Trek, but then I also really like the Star Wars universe. My wife has done a lot of art for Lucasfilm, and we live and love a lot of people in that world, and I also really enjoy that. So I'm a cop out who says I love both.
Right, and that should be an option. It should be an option. Listen, sorry, Casey,
guys. It's lightsabers versus phasers, yo. And phasers are useful, lightsabers can deflect them. I'm just saying.
Here's an interesting question. Did DMX have a regular talking voice in real life, or was he always growly?
I mean, his voice was his voice.
right.
His voice was his voice.
Casey, what's your favorite DMX joint?
Well, I was doing a re-listen actually to his first albums, and I made an incorrect statement online, and that his first 3 albums were dope, but I forgot all about Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, because basically what happened in 1998 is that he came out with It's Dark and Hell is Hot, and then the album basically said they give him $1 million bonus if he can come out with a second album by the end of the calendar year. So he came out with Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, which was it was a top 1 album, but as an album, it was actually not a great album. However, it does have one of the songs that I hold dearest to my heart, which is "Slippin'," where he goes, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. Hey, yo, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. I'm slipping, I'm falling, I got to get up, get back on my feet before I tear. And it just
Now we're gonna get flagged.
I said it, I spoke it, I did not rap it. I tried my best. Okay. Well, Amanda, that's another thing. Every week I sing and rap every week, and then we get all these content flags of like, Casey, stop violating every freaking week.
I set them all up for this one too, though. I was like, Casey, one.
But like just a quick melody of all your favorite songs, no problem.
Let's just get it all out of 1 week. 1 week, let's just do it. Make it the worst, like most flagged episode of all time.
Right.
But that song is just like
Casey singing every single song he likes for an hour.
You need more than an hour. It's gonna be a huge medley.
Yeah.
But that's a good song. Like that's my favorite one because it's just talking about him overcoming everything he had to in order to get to where he is. And he had a lot of other great songs about dealing with the pain and everything that came up in his past. But that was the one where just kind of like, here's what I have gone through, and here's where I am now, and flipped it. And that was my thing. So yeah.
Yeah, y'all go make me act a fool up in here.
Up in here.
Y'all gonna make me lose my cool.
Album 3, and then there was X.
Y'all gonna make me act a fool.
1999, my friend.
Of course, JG says Star Trek. That I mean, personal friend of his, you would know. There's no. So Star Trek's the storyline for me, and like Star Wars is the fantasy for me. And I just look at them two different things. I think they offer two different genres of the kind of the same genre, but like I don't understand the whole fighting about it. Because again, like Daniel Fisher says, I'm with Amanda on this one. Why not both? They both offer different things.
Exactly.
And that's the best part about them. Actually, the best part about them is the difference between them. It's like, Amanda, when I used to go to different cities and go to different breweries, and you would go to like 5 breweries in a day, and what made it great was the difference between all those breweries within the same, some of them are within the same block, and you can walk between 2 breweries and they offer completely different things, and you're just like, man, they're both too good, but one was better. Who cares? They're both good. Hit them both when you come to this town. So like that's kind of the whole. And don't get me started on the whole Android and iPhone thing. I'm not gonna. JG, shut up. Me and JG could argue for hours about. He's gonna comment too about it. Whatever. Anyway,
I was gonna say, just like you have phaser versus lightsabers, you also have tribbles versus midichlorians. So really, they have their pros and their cons. Like, pick your poison.
Right. That's what makes the Uber Eats ads with Sir Patrick Stewart and Mark Hamill so great. Over my head, haven't seen them.
I haven't seen those ads, but that sounds very fun.
Well, it's great.
I would watch an ad with them.
Yeah, it's a great ad. For real, we can't play it on the show because we'll get fucking flagged. If we aren't already flagged, thanks.
Why?
But
stop it.
Keep singing.
Right. Doug, you gonna make us act a fool.
Yeah, always.
Okay, well, this is I have a win for this week that I can mention that may not get us flagged. So I was on Clubhouse, as I do, for That Is My Life.
Yeah.
And I was in a room and someone asked me to freestyle a rap because I hadn't rapped in a very long time. The rap was horrible. Someone challenged me to rap a better rap, and then I tried a better one. Rap? I used to rap a lot in the early 2000s as well. So when I was drawing comics, I was also rapping.
He's not a player.
Is there audio
creative man of all trades.
Is there audio evidence of this mess? I mean, this stuff.
You know what? I'm actually building out an audio section of my site with all the freestyles and everything. But one of the things I want to, I'm not lying. One of the things I'm working on right now is a dad rap EP. So, where I have time for it, because I have all these other things. Amanda, I'm writing a book. I write a blog, a social media. But yeah, dad rap EP.
We're shutting down this stream, Doug. We can't have this. We can't have him around. He's way too talented. He is
It's
way.
It's like dad rock and dad rap.
This
just raps about being a father.
Album, a book, a comic book. Soon going to be
a clothing line.
Yes,
I mean, I have toyed around with that. When there's people who have come to me and be like, "Hey, Casey, we should talk about a clothing line." I'm like, "Listen, I need people. I need a team. I need a team. I need a team."
No, he's taking over the world, and this stream's going to be first. I'm telling you, like I believe in the deep state. So, Doug, you got Amanda on here. Amanda writes for comic books. Casey does drawings. This is all. Casey's taking over, Doug, and we don't even know it. It's like the AI. It's like
you invited him in here, by the way.
Right. Before, you're going to be taking over before, you know it. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, you're playing around and you're already taking over. Does that make sense? And then by the time he really takes over, then you have no. I mean, we're going to be pushed out. I mean, this man's got an album, a book
coming out. Yeah,
right.
Amanda, I apologize for all this, Amanda.
And Doug, you think I'm joking about keeping his ass up there and making him show a vaccine passport? Motherfucker, he's gonna come down here and take us all over. Aren't you scared, Amanda? I don't know. I'm
terrified. No, there's plenty of room. Look, the entertainment industry is simultaneously tiny and huge.
Oh, absolutely. And we already know, Amanda, that we already know, and I don't know if you want to speak to this real quick, but we already know the diversity issues that your profession has. So there's clearly room for our boy. I don't know if you want to talk about that, or you want to, you can, or any of that.
I just agree. I very much agree that more diversity is a good thing, and
these
better stories. Yes,
and these are roads that you've already and you continue to navigate. So we will all give. I don't know if we have a beer. We all cheers to that. You don't have to talk about it, but to get to where you're at, you have to, blaze some trails, and there were women before you that blazed some trails too. Clearly, but you're still one of, in my opinion, part of the diversity, and that's why, another reason why we love that you're here talking to us. But that's why it's really important, for projects going on. I mean, we just see, especially here, Casey, I don't know if you know the ruckus that has been brought up with, whether it be the Grammys or the Golden Globes, about how there's lack of diversity and there's all these Black people doing wonderful. People of color, how about that? And people on the spectrum, doing crazy, wonderful things and not getting acknowledgement for it. So I don't know if you want to talk to any of that. It's a big old broad subject, but if you wanted to mention any of that before we slowly but surely get out of here. But Casey's going to have 3 or 4 more things to talk about before we get out of here. But cool.
I'm just glad there's pushback on it, honestly. When you see things like the Oscars so white hashtags and things like that, I'm glad that, this is the good part about social media, right? Social media gets a lot of bad rap and it can be a toxic place, but it also means that it gives people a platform, a way to speak about it, a way to say, why are all these amazing things happening? And then we're seeing the same sea of faces that all look very similar when it comes time for awards or when it comes time for staffing a room or whatever the case may be. So that's something that I think the pushback is a good thing. I think we'll see more and more diversity of all kinds. And I think that when you have that, you get better stories, because even when we're not writing about ourselves, right? I don't have to write about a lesbian to still have my worldview affect my writing. It's still gonna come with the richness of a life experience, even if I'm writing a middle-aged straight white guy who's living his life. You're still gonna get the more the more points of view you get, the more richness you're gonna get, the different kinds of stories you're gonna get, something that doesn't feel like the same story you've heard a bunch of times. So
amen.
I think it's good.
I'm into that.
We have a question for you, Amanda.
Elizabeth Martin, I don't think so. The Women's Writer Initiative with the WG. No, I don't. I do not know her, but that sounds very cool. So. So I wish I did.
And our friend JG says, "Oh, white men keep getting in the way." That's his opinion. I'm not.
There's plenty of room for everybody. There's plenty of room for the old white men and the rest of us. So.
And Darren says that my vision of Casey taking over the world is a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah,
with a happy ending. It's one of those with a happy ending, right?
For who though?
For him.
Oh, I can't even.
More like Wild Stallions from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, just like everybody just like kumbaya, and it's Casey running it.
Right. And you're right, Doug. Doug made a really good point. I was the one who invited Casey, so ultimately I will be blamed.
If he takes us over and he assimilates us like the Borg, it's going to be your fault.
Right.
But it'd be so awesome. Like, you know, I'm a benevolent dictator.
And Amanda, I don't know if you know the story about how me and Casey met, but we were at a conference and I was sitting down at a table eating, and Casey walks up and says, "Can I have that seat?" And I said, "No." And he sat right down. So then that's how we met. Literally, no bullshit. That is not a lie. That is the truth.
It's a very
oh my god, I love it.
Right. And 4 years later, he's here. And right. So Doug is right though. Like, I saw my ending and I chose it. So
I love that you were like, the rude in me recognizes the rude in you, and this is how we're gonna fight.
Yeah. Right. But also, man, Casey and I like it. Casey and I like this conversation because part of it is like, there's a thinking in white America where like all Black people know Black people, and we're all like this big army that's like again. So if we see each other, we're like, yes, we're gonna like band together and like take over the world. And the opposite is true. It's like we see each other, we're like, bitch, go get another seat. Like, you know what I mean? We're not. It doesn't. And Casey was like, "No, I'm sitting down." And then he sat down, and we immediately started engaging and talking, and like the rest is history. So, you know, sometimes it's not as simple as people. You know, we joke about it, but like, you know, not all Black people like each other. We don't definitely like each other when we first meet each other.
The entire.
Would you say Casey, or is he? Or is it me?
Wasn't me.
Or is it
Shaggy interlude?
Casey?
So, Casey, you got something else? Or are you frozen up there, Casey?
Casey's froze. Go on, Dougie.
Ooh.
Well, I never called him Dougie before.
Yeah, I don't know. So, did you manage to finish your Bordeaux? Yes, correct, Amanda? Is that
Yes,
what you were...
yeah, there's like a little, there's not much left. Yes, pretty much.
Have you ever had a white Bordeaux?
I have, and I liked it.
Yeah, my wife is a fan of, she drinks wine. I don't, because wine gives me headaches, and it's the only thing that gives me headaches. So I don't drink it. And it's funny, like, I don't know if you're this way, but when it's warmer, it's always white wine. And when it's a little cooler, it's red. Do you kind of follow that sort of pattern?
A little bit, although I tend to prefer red across the board. So I'll even, you know, given a preference, I'll usually still go for the red.
Okay. All right, Casey, you froze up. What point were you trying to make to take over the rest of the show?
And the world.
You know what? It's better if I keep it on the hush. My internet was basically so offended by the plan. That's like, no, what? I'm just gonna kick you off. I'm like, thanks, internet. Appreciate it.
Right. When you're trying to take over the world, you don't tell the world that, Casey.
Well, unless you're Pinky in the brain, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. How successful were they?
Yeah.
It's a low bar.
So I don't know. Do you guys have any more questions for Amanda? Can we let her go, or do we?
I have a gazillion questions, but if we do, we'll be here till for 5 more hours. So,
well, this is why we have to have Amanda back if she will wonderfully grace her presence or grace her presence with us. We would love to have you back, and maybe you can announce something too. when you're
Yeah.
ready, of course. That'll be great. That'll be fun. Because I know it's funny because I literally, I asked that question for you, and I, you could see in your answer about how you're sincere about sometimes where, again, sometimes I'm like, I would like to be like the one to say, hey, we got this dropping, but you guys got, you got marketing and advertising and stuff. But, that aside, if you ever want to come back and talk about any kind of project that you're doing, we have a lot of fathers that follow us and our mothers too. So they're, as you saw, they're all in tune on what you're doing already. So, yeah. Doug?
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's I remember just like being a little nervous emailing you about this. Like, I'm gonna email her and she's not gonna respond. And I just approach it always that way. And because it's something where when I when I look at some of the stuff you post on Twitter, I'm really fascinated how you approach some things where you do some super. Hey, what's something that somebody gave you as a piece of information when you were feeling low and it really buoyed you? And you do some really inspirational stuff. You do funny stuff. You do innuendo stuff. You do a smorgasbord of stuff. It's freaking great. And I was like, man, that would be really fabulous to have her on. And when you responded, I was like, sure. And I was like, now what do I do? And I was like, yeah. So, folks, if you have not followed Amanda on Twitter, I highly recommend it. It's a great Twitter follow. It is something where you get positivity, you get, obviously cool content because, she works on a million things, and just seriously, just do that. And I promise you will not be disappointed. So, Amanda, I just really want to say thank you for joining us tonight. I'm super thrilled you did. And I'm really looking forward to having you on again when you're ready to join us and actually drop some not so secret things.
Oh, well, thank you so
much. Even if you're not ready to drop anything.
And you don't mean that. You could be on anytime. We love having return guests, and especially folks that have been engaging as fun as you are. So, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Amanda, it took one look at what you do and the life you've lived for me to cancel every single family Friday plan I had and be like, no, screw you guys. Listen, you don't understand. You don't understand. and I was like, okay, you guys are going to bed. You go watch Bridgerton or whatever. Like, just everyone out of my space. I have conversations to have. Thank you very much. So I'm very honored that we were able to have this conversation, man, and look forward to chatting with you again because this was super fun.
Yeah. And if you have a few moments, we hang out after the show, and you're welcome to hang there. If you can't, that's fine too.
Sure. Yeah. Hey.
All right. Amanda, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Amanda. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Cheers. Look at that. Boom. What a way to go out. Excellent. So let's
Greg, you first.
I'm almost speechless about the content that we had tonight.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. And I'm not even a big comic book. My kids are a little bit too
Neither
old.
am I.
Comedy shows.
No. Casey, you're
not right. So I had some IPAs tonight that were solid. I'm still drinking out of my IPA box. The Cloud Harvest IPA 04. Somebody asked if this is like Belgian Moon, Blue Moon.
Yeah, that was my girl Carmen. Carmen and I go back.
I'm sorry, Carmen. Carmen, it was crazy show tonight, so I couldn't get to you, but yeah, very much so. Blue Moon was one of my crossovers to Craft, man. I really like that one. I didn't know what was going on with Craft. Panic Button, solid IPA, nothing crazy. And then I opened up this ESB, dog. From Working Draft.
I didn't even notice. Oh man.
Yeah, multi.
You mentioned it. It went under the radar.
Yeah, ESBs. We don't see many of those. Our friend Tiffany Martin loves those. I know Doug loves those.
Is it from Working Title, or where's that
Working
from?
Draft. Working Draft. Working Draft. Real quick. One of the few breweries that lets you select one beer for curbside, so you can get one beer of all their beers, as opposed to having to buy 4 or 6.
See, that's a good idea.
That's a fair. Well, they got me for like over $60 worth of fucking one. So yeah, it works, y'all. Because I would have just bought, seriously, Doug, I would have just bought 2 4-packs because you know me, I don't really want to drink the same beer over and over. But if
Same.
you're going to give me an option, I can buy every single one of your beers in one can. I'm all over that. So that was good. My tequila was fantastic. But yeah, I'll let you guys. I don't know. Wonderful
Casey,
show. So I wanted to make sure that yeah. What's up, Casey?
Yeah, Casey, you go, man.
My internet's wonky, but I hope you can hear me. You can. All right, cool. So second place was the passion fruit shapeshifter. Really good. At 6.5, you know, lots of flavor kicking in there. But the left field boasts with the blackberry sour at a 3.6 ABV was surprisingly the one I would go for. And it's right around the corner, so I can get it anytime I want.
Nice.
But next week or next time I'm on, I don't know next week. We'll see. You guys know me and my crazy schedule. But next time I hope to have those beers in from Canada so I can have some different flavors because they have some really interesting stuff. Sure I can bring that onto the show.
Canada.
Stop
Canada.
It. I mean, it's accurate, but at the same time, like, stop.
All right. To me, was obviously the worst was this one because I took one drink of it. It was a malt bomb, so that we don't even need to discuss. I was dumb. Cellared it.
Doug's fault, not Ale Sam's fault. Facts.
No, it is not. It was mine because I decided to throw one in the cellar freezer and one just drink right up front.
Great beer otherwise.
It was excellent. So I'm going to say, actually, in a rare moment, it's a tie for the first because both of these were freaking excellent. If I can actually get them to, but different because this was like chocolatey, peanut buttery, smooth. The lactose really smoothed that out. But this was a double IPA and just didn't drink like a double IPA that I normally would be like, ugh. No, this was both. This was really good. This was 9% ABV, but this was 6.2. Both excellent. I really can't choose a winner, so both of them win. Oh, and I did have a silky whiskey, which that shit's great. So,
and just like Amanda taught us, it can be both. So Star Wars,
sure.
Star Wars, or Star Trek, both. Yes, damn it.
Yeah, why not both? As
Right.
the meme goes.
Right.
As the meme
So,
goes.
Next week, we get into I'm not sure if Casey's joining us or not. I don't know if he is or not. But next week we're gonna have if Casey joins us, we're gonna have double to Canada. And we're gonna get into Dangerous Man Brewing with
It's gonna be Rick.
Fedora. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's gonna be fun. Rick is one of my good friends. His wife is someone that Doug loves. Paige.
Yeah, I think they're both E's knees. So yeah.
So they are. So yes, next week's gonna be fun. You guys have a great week. And yeah.
Peace, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for the fantastic, wonderful guest.